So I got connected with Gerald about 5 years ago when I was exploring an opportunity that he had posted on maybe on ExecuNet about an executive position. And I got really interested in what he was doing at that time, but I don't think that I really understood the whole process until I became an executive in a private equity company. So as an executive in a private equity company, you have two different roles. One is to increase the value of the company and to provide services to the patient in my position, and the other is to make it ready for sale. So the owner or operator wants the most money possible for their company, and the private equity company wants to pay as little as possible for it. So you need to figure out a way to bridge the gap. So my area of expertise in healthcare operations was to create an opportunity to increase value for that private equity company and to help the owner operator make as much money as possible, which is not always easy to bridge. I kind of became the marriage counselor between the acquiring company and the selling company, which afforded me the opportunity to really evaluate the executives who were in those roles in the first place. So after doing that, working in healthcare for 35 years, making a lot of money for a lot of other people, I had the opportunity after 2 turns to exit my company and to do pretty well. I'm very satisfied with how I ended up, but at this point I really wanted to explore other opportunities for me to be able to add value to a company, whether it was as an operating partner, as a board member, as a peer mentor, or doing executive coaching. My last job, I worked for National Seating and Mobility, which was a private equity-owned company. It had 2 turns, one with Bank of America, one with the Wellspring Capital in New York. Both of those companies did extremely well. However, when I first started with the company, it had no value at all. It was a $60 million company. First year I was there, it made $700,000. This last year we sold for 10 times 40 EBITDA. So a lot of people made a lot of money. It was a great story, but really the crux of the story was that creating operational excellence was a team effort. It was something that I led, something that I was passionate about. My goal has always been to do good, to do well. In healthcare especially, you need to focus on the patient, you need to focus on the clinician, and you can't ram the profitability down somebody's neck like that because they're motivated by very different things than the private equity group. So they need somebody to interpret how do you make money and keep clinicians happy, or keep healthcare operations going, or keep patients in home care. So in the last couple of months, I've had an opportunity to really explore what my next steps were. I got reconnected with Gerald, and I looked around. Actually, I'll tell you this now. I did my own due diligence about your process. Nobody is doing this. It's very efficient. It's a way to really get to connect with people who are looking for expertise. Not necessarily in healthcare, but just people who can hit the ground running, who get it, who get that private equity wants to turn a company around to make a profit, to get that the company that's selling needs to leave a little bit of meat on the bones to be able to sell to a private equity company so that they can still make money. It's not always easy to do. As an operator, I have been very fortunate to be mentored by very strong people, and I've learned from my healthcare expertise that going in and doing a full assessment and figuring out a plan to improve operations is what works for me, and I'm passionate about that, and I've had great success. But going from doing that, which is a very tactical, block and tackling job, to figuring out what my next step is was really a result of doing the due diligence with your company. So figuring out a way to invest my own time, invest my own money, to do research about how I could best be utilized my next step in my career was something that I was very deliberate about. And I could have gone, I have some other networks in private equity, and I did reach out and I did network with people, but it's just not as efficient. It's not a way, you go in blind and you say, I'm looking for a board position. Well, what does that even look like? You're a healthcare operator, you've done multi-site, national, blah, blah, blah. How can you help me? Like, well, when you have a deal, call me. Well, by the time they have a deal, you're, out of their thoughts, right? So far, I've been here, 6 hours? Okay, I've had at least 5 really meaningful conversations. I've had 5 people say, I really want to talk to you more. I never have gotten that attention from calling private equity people directly, networking with my network. It's just been a lot of, warm handoffs, but really no connection. When somebody meets you face to face and they get to hear what you're all about, what your values are, what your operating style is, what your communication style is, they really get a sense of who you are. and somebody looks at you and says, I like your attitude, I want to work with you, that's a lot different than just sending somebody an email saying, I'm interested in a board position. Well, you and 20,000 other people, right? So the reason I'm here is because in 2017, my objective is to secure a board position. And I know that I will be successful. I've made some great contacts here. I expect that the rest of the day will continue to be as successful. And I would highly recommend this process to anybody looking to further their executive development.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.